to Season 3 of the Giant series on It's a Mimic. We're back with more Giants in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. But in this season, we're digging into all the information we could find in Bibby Presents Glory of the Giants. I'm Casey, and joining me, of course, is Megan.
Megan! This episode focuses on the Elemental Cultists that have been added for the Stone Giants, Fire Giants, Frost Giants, and Cloud Giants. And so, today's wine, we'll have to talk about before we get started, obviously. Today's wine, we're going to go with the evil theme today, because that's going to be a bit of a theme throughout today's episode.
Yep, let's get it.
So we went with the Diablo Dark Red. So this is a red wine.
It is. Is it from Chile? No.
This one is, bottled in Chile.
Okay,
yeah.
I remembered correctly.
Yeah, there you go. Well, let's...
I do like the label. It's got a good label.
It does. It's a nice, blood red, creepy, almost on fire. It's got a little devil in the background if you look at the gold leaf.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So this one, I have a feeling this one's going to have to breathe.
Have you ever had this one?
I've had Diablo wine before. Do I remember what this tastes like? No. Because it's very much screams, if you look at the bottle, it screams like Megan would drink this. You know what I'm
does,
saying?
yes. Yeah. Which is why I asked. I don't know if I've ever asked you that about a wine. It's just we're drinking this.
The reality is probably that I've had it, but do I remember what the palate of a fucking wine that I drank 6 years ago when I was, knee-deep in tequila? No.
Yeah.
Cheers. Yes, that's more full-bodied for sure.
Yeah.
She's thick.
Yeah, she's thick.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of sweetness there, though.
It's almost like a cupcake. I can't, it's got that birthday cake taste to it.
Ah, yeah.
Are you getting the same thing, or is that just me?
That's the sweetness, I think, I was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it tastes like birthday cake. It tastes like I just ate a birthday cake donut. But alcohol.
I feel like that is a promo for this wine. And they're like, no, it's the devil. It's like birthday cake.
Birthday cake.
It's like, shh.
This is how I ruin things for people. I would never do well in marketing. I'll say that right now. I would be terrible at it.
Oh, well. Good thing we just talk to the ether.
Yeah, good thing we talk to... Some people listen,
Some people, yes, are entertained by us.
Good. That's all I can ask.
All right. So... let's dive in. We're going to cover a number of giants today, and they all have some evil connotation. The first one we are covering is Stone Giant of Evil Earth. So we've spoken already in this series about situations where giants reject the ordning in favor of worshipping something or someone else. So today's episode is all about that. The first on our list is the Stone Giant of Evil Earth. These are stone giants that are not focused on creation from stone, but on cruelty and destruction, and worship Ogramok, the Prince of Evil Earth. They seek to destroy the surface of the earth and join Ogramok cults to use their giant strength to help the cause.
Here's the thing, because it's going to be a theme that it's prince or goddess or god of evil XYZ element. And I love a good naming convention. This is not one of them.
No? You're not about it?
Because it implies there's a non-evil Earth, and then also...
True. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just
there's not Prince of the Good Earth, or is there?
Or Gooder Earth, I don't, you know what I mean? It's just we could have thought of something better, right?
That's fair.
It should be almost evil Prince of Earth, not calling the Earth itself evil.
Yeah, I agree. That's completely fair.
Anyways, it'll be a theme in today's episode.
It is. We're going to...
and I'm starting
Megan's
off with...
going to rant about that already.
I'm getting it out of the way. I fucking hate it. Someone's going to come at me and say it makes sense because of XYZ, and they can prove me wrong. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm still not a fan of it.
Oh, hell, let's just do it now then. So it makes sense because Ogramok is one of the 4 princes of the apocalypse from the adventure Princes of the Apocalypse, which is based on the legacy adventure Temple of Elemental Evil. Each one of the Princes of the Apocalypse has a different element behind them. Ogramok is for Earth. You'll notice that there are 4 different Elemental Cultists in this episode. That's because there are 4 different Princes of the Apocalypse, 4 different Elemental Evils. So, Ogramok is the Elemental Evil of Earth. Therefore, we're talking about the Cultists, the Stone Giant of Evil Earth. That's where all of this comes from. It does make sense, but let's listen to them rant about how it doesn't make sense for the rest of the episode, because I think it's funnier than asking them to re-record it. And before we sit down to give Megan or Casey hell about this, I think it's worth pointing out that in their research for this episode, in the book they are using, this does not get explained. Therefore, if it's not in the research, if it's not in the book, this is what the average D&D player for 5th edition is going to think when they pick up the book and go, what? This is not a failure of the hosts. This is a failure of the research material that was provided.
And we're going to be super judgy on the art. Usually everything is stellar. We've had a few misses in last episode. That's fine. So for the stone giant of evil earth, they do not disappoint. Yeah. It is great. So here, I'll give you a look.
Give me a looky-loo.
It shows a stone giant in beautifully crafted heavy armor that has markings of the Ogremok, including a custom stone club with markings and gemstones embedded in it. It has a matching set with a helm and shoulder pads that also have the gemstones, undoubtedly giving them some magical abilities that we'll get into. So let's dive into some highlights on their stat block. Yeah, I'm like, nice.
It is nice.
Yeah.
And honestly, the art for all of them is quite nice.
Yeah.
But we'll get into details of the other ones too. But
The stone giant of evil earth has an AC of 20 with that plate armor, and they are very, very strong with an equally strong constitution, but below average charisma. They have dark vision, and they are skilled in athletics and perception and speak Common, Giant, and Terran, which we've mentioned before, but as a reminder, is a language of creatures from the elemental plane of Earth. They do not have any immunities, and they are a CR of 9. We're starting high today, and I think we're going to go higher as we go.
You know it.
In combat, they can make 2 attacks using their thundering stone club and or throwing a boulder as a ranged weapon attack. It's stone giants. Here we are.
Yep.
The Thunder Stone Club has a 15-foot reach on one target and deals 3d6 plus 6 bludgeoning damage on a hit. But once per turn, the giant can also cause the club to emit a burst of thunderous energy, dealing an extra 3d6 thunder damage to each creature within 30 feet of the one that was hit. So that's pretty harsh as an extra. So that's, those gems. Those gems just do a burst. And then the boulder throw has a range of 60 feet or 240 feet at disadvantage. And if the target fails a strength save, it is knocked prone. Again, so
getting hit by a rock.
You're getting hit by a boulder this time. You're just knocked prone. It's like, you're knocked prone, but I feel like this is opportunity to describe that in horrific fashion because it's a fucking boulder coming at your head.
Nat 20, your foot gets crushed.
Right?
Yeah.
Finally, the stone giant of evil earth has one reaction called unyielding. If the giant fails a saving throw to avoid being moved, knocked prone, or both, the giant succeeds instead. So I feel like this just speaks to it's made of stone and it's wearing immense stone armor that it's an immovable object. It's going to be really hard to push back or knock prone. So it has this ability. So sure, you can try and push it back 10 feet with your magical ability and it's just going to go, no.
But what a fun thing to describe as a DM, right? The fact that it does have that innate ability. You can kind of give a visual tit for tat. Maybe their foot slides backwards half a foot, but it doesn't move.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, or if you strike it and try to push it back, it's a stone wall and roll me a dex save to not fall over after. People sometimes have those attacks that if they slash at you or a monk, if they punch you, it'll push you back 10 feet.
Yeah.
I can imagine yes, your hit strikes and then you go to push them, but it's like hitting a wall. So, okay, well, in my brain, I would also want to do
it reverberates back.
and take 1d4 unarmed damage or something like
and
that.
your hand goes numb or something. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
but I'm a dick like that. I think that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, and it's just a little bit of like, take that.
Yeah, tit for tat.
And in comparison to a classic stone giant, they are just slightly beefier in like all aspects. Like the AC jumps from 17 to 20 due to the fancy patron armor it gets. Mm-hmm. The CR jumps from 7 to 9. The Great Club becomes a stone club, and then the rocks become boulders. Like it's just leveled up.
Yeah.
And then you throw in some evil magic and you have a version that could reside within the same areas of a regular stone giant, but would have that strongly opposing view to the ordning. And then it actually can speak Common and then Terran.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. So I'm entertained by it. It's got some interesting things going on. Hey, if you have some evil worshipping type or like chaotic evil people in your party or NPCs, you can lean into the evil aspect and bring in this cruelty and destruction. They're going to be assholes. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't like the tie-in with we're adding in the other gods and goddesses of the giants area, right? Because we talk about the kids all the time, like the sons and the daughters and all of them. So it's interesting to see, okay, well, if I'm not going to worship them, what would I worship? Mm-hmm. And obviously it's going to be of the evil, apparently. So, sure.
Yeah, if an eye roll could be captured on a podcast, it just did.
An evil element. Get out of here. It's not the element that... Anyway, I'm not going to...
I totally get it. I feel like I'm going to say evil before the element all the time now, just to like be like, oh, see, I can see you stiffen a little bit. It's like, oh my god.
What evil fire is this?
Right? Because that's coming up.
What evil fire winds are upon us today? Yeah. Anyways, I'm not going to get into it anymore. Someone can fight me in the comments, but I just don't believe that an element can be good or evil. It is an element. It is an element.
Yeah. Yeah, but we are starting off pretty high in just like AC and CR with this one, and it's kind of going to be a theme.
Yeah.
So like last episode we were talking about the Hulks, which was started at I think it was a CR of 3 with the Mud Hulk, and we moved up to about a CR of 9.
I think it was 7 or 9.
7 or 9.
Yeah.
So it's like we're picking up where we left off there, and it's like if you want to have this like tier to fight in your party or encounter in your party,
like,
here's
add a god
the next
to it.
level, you know? So it's clever. They're covering all the bases.
Like,
I mean, overall, we'll always love this book. And so...
I like how you have to say that to me, like I all of a sudden hate this book because I hate the fact they describe elements as good and evil.
It's like, it's gonna be okay, Megan.
Megan, it's fine. Okay. You still like the book, right? You'll still play the Giants
like,
game, right?
We still have a couple episodes left.
Megan, we have to keep going. And I'll be like, yeah, I know, Casey. I'll keep going. It's okay. But no, it is interesting. I like the additive that if you add a god or a goddess that actually infuses you with abilities, you do get, like, that's the next tier, right? Mm-hmm. But I'd be interested to see what the next tier above this is.
Right? Yeah, and we're seeing lower ordning level giants get magic, which is fun.
Yeah, so, anyways.
All right, so what's next?
So next, we have the... I'm gonna hate it so much. I have the Frost Giant of Evil Water.
How evil is that water, Megan?
So, there is no deity that's specifically attached to frost or ice. Like, that's the main thing, which is why it sounds weird that a Frost Giant is of evil water. So basically we have to turn to the evil water... Oh, God, I hate it so much. We turn to Ol Hydra, which is basically the goddess of evil water, essentially. So this one I like because it's following a goddess.
Okay.
But yeah, that's where all the cults and cultists will come from. So basically the belief here is that the water is thought to be cruel and destructive, and in colder climates it is also obviously displayed through by ice. So it's one of those things where it's like, yes, water is evil and scary, but add ice to it and it's worse. So... So the whole thing is that Olhydra is, again, one of those like goddesses that they are not allowed to be worshipping. So technically, if a frost giant in its little like cohort was to be worshipping Olhydra, they'll actually do it in secret for as long as they can until they get caught.
It's like, what will be the signs?
Yeah. It's like, I don't worship her, but there will be signs. And then they just have a cup of evil water or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Their mug will say evil on it.
Oh, yeah. Like, go into my Monday morning, like, scrum meeting, like, hey. And it's just like, water is evil is written on my mug. But yeah, so that's the whole thing. But then eventually they will get kicked out if they ever get found out. Basically, if a frost giant was caught worshipping Olhydra, they tend to be cast out and forced to start their own little plague of evilness with the support of their goddess, essentially. So she will grant them the ability to breathe underwater and use weaponry like harpoons and crossbows as if to be used to drag the enemy to be drowned in the cold depths of the waters.
Ooh.
It also gives them a swim speed. So they have a 40-foot long stride and a 40-foot swim speed. So they can swim underwater. The imagery of them is basically Aquaman meets Hunky Frost Giant.
Yeah. Yeah.
As their loincloths and robes look that of materials of the sea. So like nets or tentacles, barnacles, like that whole 9 yards. So similar to the one we talked about previously, like it will be adorned with emblems and gems and stones that represent Olhydra. So that, like, again, the imagery is really cool.
Yeah, and like its helm has like fins. It look like fins and like fish spikes.
It's like an Atlantis, like King of Atlantis kind of look.
It is great, and you very much think of Frost Giant as well.
Yes.
When you look at it,
because you do see the tiny skulls on its belt. And, like, again, we always talk about how they always add things into this for size representation.
Yeah.
They're like the skulls of humans, but they make up little danglies on the belt. Yeah. Right? So.
Yeah, well done.
Anyways, yeah, great visual for that one. So these ones are a CR of 11. Its highest stat, of course, being in Strength and Con, which is a +6 and a +5. They're considered to be amphibious, so as I mentioned, they can now breathe underwater as a mechanic. And do have 40 feet of swim speed.
Is this a first for an amphibious giant?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, unless there was something within the giant's kin that we covered, which I'll have to
And I don't know. I don't think we've gone down that road.
Yeah.
Or that river.
Yeah. So I think this is down that river of evil water. Mm-hmm. Well, you only get gills when you're evil, so... Oh my god. Alright, so for actions, they have multi-attack, of course. They carry a battle axe and a harpoon. The battle axe is cool.
It is cool? Okay.
It's cool. It hits hard and adds cold damage. So it's pretty neat. But the harpoon has the chance to grapple its creature that it strikes, which is going to be important when it comes to its next ability. So the ability that they have is called Reel In, which is a bonus action that once a creature is grappled by the harpoon, it will be pulled 20 feet towards it. So this plays into the whole aspect of the fact that they like to use their harpoons and ranged things to pull you into the water and drown you.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
And I love that the harpoon is attached to its wrist. Like a, little pew-pew weapon.
Yeah.
But it's a fucking harpoon.
Yeah, exactly. You look at it like, you look at the art and you're like, oh, that looks like a cute little crossbow. No, that's a harpoon, bitches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wrapped around the wrist with the chains.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
That's amazing.
So, and these ones speak Aquan, Common, and Giant, so we're starting to see more language options for them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's an interesting one. So, and I just found it funny that they wear scale mail, but at the same time, I feel like scale mail means they're wearing, like, fish scales.
Oh, yeah. And even, like, in the imagery, it looks like scales.
Yeah.
Versus the traditional scale mail look.
Yeah, exactly.
This is cool. I like this. I think it has to be a bit more specific if you're going to toss it at a campaign or adventuring party.
And
but
at a very specific location, too.
yeah.
Because it has to be a place that's cold enough like a tundra, but also has water for, like, glaciers and for their ability to pop off their abilities, right?
So, like, east coast of Canada.
Vancouver, yeah, is where they would, like, maybe Tofino, but,
Yeah, east or west coast, and, throw in some mountainous, like, snow plains, or on the east coast, some icebergs floating along. They could be standing on the iceberg, was ready to harpoon the boats and the people on the boats. Terrifying.
Yeah, it's so weird, because, like, when we think about the frost giants, they tend to travel around their landscape, right? Because they're hunters. They're hunters and they're gatherers, and they never... If we remember that episode that we did many, many, many years ago about them, from what I remember, they don't like staying in the same spot for too long. So I would almost have a frost giant, like, hunting party has left a certain, like, encampment, and then the ones that it left behind take over this camp and then become a cult of these because they feel either abandoned by the ordning or what have you. And so they start their own little cult in this space, and you come across them thinking they're regular frost giants. No, they will drown you.
Yeah. I think it's when they, like, do a perfect swan dive into the water and don't emerge again, and you just see them coming towards you under the water, that you'd be like,
Their finned helmet just coming toward,
right?
like, beelining it towards you.
Yeah. It's like, this isn't a frost giant.
Yeah. This is why is it wearing scales?
Something's happened.
Yeah.
Oh man, that would be a fun water combat.
Yeah. But I do like, again, one of the main things I like about this one is that it's a princess / goddess that they worship.
Yeah.
So we always like to see that.
Yeah. Great. So we're moving polar opposite next. We have the fire giant of, Megan, guess it? Evil fire. So we already know that fire giants live, work, and play in and around fire and flame. When a fire giant gazes too long into the flame, the prince of evil fire, Imix, may gaze back at them, corrupting them. Some may choose to leave and join up with Imix's cults, while others may stay in their home and wreak destruction in Imix's name. Mm-hmm. They forge special armor and weapons, blessed by their new patron. The armor welding to the flesh, never to be removed unless the giant is burned. The weapon is a scepter, gaining magical abilities from the eternal flame. So
that's pretty badass.
Yeah, like, that's commitment, if I've ever seen it. So when you look at the art in the book, there would be no question that there's something different about this fire giant. First, instead of a giant hammer or a great sword, it holds a scepter, which is much, much smaller.
Yeah.
But it's red hot looking. And it's glowing as though it just emerged from the forge. And the armor looks like it was literally hammered into its body. And then it has this, like, Tony Stark, like, glowing point in the center of its chest.
Yeah.
So it is very clearly magic wielding, and I love it. Well, of course, because it's a fire giant.
It's fire, yeah.
Yeah, but again, very well done on the art on this one as well.
Yeah.
If we look at their stat block, they are a CR of 18 with that plate armor, and just incredibly, incredibly high strength and con. We're talking +7 to strength, +6 to con. And they are also notably wise and charismatic. Let's see, charisma +2 and wisdom +4. They still have below average dex though. They are skilled in athletics and perception and are immune to fire damage and can speak Common, Giant, and Ignan, which is a language from the elemental plane of fire. We are at a CR of 10 here. They can multi-attack twice with their Searing Scepter or with the Bolt of Imix. The Searing Scepter has a reach of 10 feet, dealing an average of 26 hit points of bludgeoning and fire damage, magically branding the target as well. While branded, the target becomes visible if it was invisible, can't go invisible, and sheds dim light in a 5-foot radius. It lasts 24 hours unless removed by using a spell that ends a curse. I would have did more.
But you know what's funny is when you were describing to me about their dedication in terms of having their like armor melded onto them, I was like, how strange. I'm sure that they would love to be branded. And then here we are.
They are branding their targets.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I love that you are marking them. So, obviously if you're invisible and you get branded, you are now visible.
Yeah.
And so you can't really avoid that. And then you shed dim light. Sure. I don't know. I would add another layer to that. Mm-hmm. Like you take some fire damage or something because if you get burned, there's a latent effect. And so like a brand, it would hurt really bad. And then, there's that latent effect where it's like, oh, this is going to get so much worse before it gets better.
Oh, yeah. Like tomorrow, day 2, it's going to be the worst day of my life.
Right?
Yeah.
So I would love to, because especially if it lasts 24 hours, unless removed using a spell that ends a curse, I would add in fire damage, like say every 2 hours or something until it's removed. Because that brand is setting in.
Yeah.
And then it's like scarring over and it is fucking hurting you. It is impacting your next 24 hours if you just choose to be like, I'm just going to leave it. You know? Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, even if you didn't want to do like because I feel like getting a cure curse, like all it can be is cure curse, right? Ends curse.
A spell that ends a curse.
Can be hard to find.
Could be.
So if you were to do it every 2 hours, that causes a lot of healing to have to do. So what I would actually do in my brain is this would be a great time to enter in a sanity score.
Yes. Yeah.
That at the end of every day, you have to roll a sanity roll or fall deeper into I am in excruciating pain until this thing is removed. And I'm going slightly crazy because I'm being constantly reminded of this thing that now haunts me and chases me and is trying to track me down.
Yeah. This evil fire, Megan.
Yeah.
Haunts you.
Yeah, I hate you so much. Yep.
Yeah, I like that too. It's just like it can level up slightly because it is a CR of 10. Like that's pretty high. Like so, yeah, I'd like to modify that a little bit. Mm-hmm. But also, so the bolt of IMIX is a ranged spell attack. Fire giants doing spells, Megan.
I know. We've made it here today.
We made it here today. It has a 120-foot range, dealing 3d10 plus 4 fire damage on a hit, and target must succeed on a wisdom save or be frightened until the end of their next turn. And I do say the art does make them look truly frightening. So I feel like if this is staring you down and then it makes a mote, or a bolt in its hand and then throws it at you, yeah, you're going to be frightened, especially if it hits you.
And it's so funny that this is the first one that we've seen in the last couple episodes that has a frightened ability.
Yes.
And it seems strange to me because we've seen some frightening art.
We have, yeah.
Yeah.
I am here for it. This is great.
Yeah.
Comparing this to a regular fire giant, again, this is perhaps more comparable than you think. The AC is the same. Mm-hmm. The CR level is only 1 point higher from 9 to 10. And the fire giant of evil fire just gets wildly different melee weapon and magical ranged attack instead of throwing rocks, and it can speak common and ignan. So it's similar to a regular fire giant in that we're not going leaps and bounds away where would we put this thing?
It's just like, here, I got a new god and got a new ability.
Totally.
And that's it.
Yeah, but it's pretty awesome. Do you want to see me do it?
Yeah. Look what I can do. Yeah.
And I got this glowing thing. I'm like in my chest. But I did have to get my armor welded onto my flesh.
Yeah.
It's like, yikes. That's commitment.
So I know that giants are not necessarily playable characters, right? But as a DM, I think it would be really fun to play either a fire giant or an ice or a frost giant or what have you that is seeking this new god's boon.
Yes.
And so they have left their group. You have found them in the wilds. And they're like, I actually mean you no harm. I am on my own journey. If you would like to help me, that would be great. but you don't have to. I'm just on my own journey. The fire giant is probably not the one that would do that because they would probably just burn in at you on sight.
Yeah, they're also assholes, I feel like.
Yeah, but I think like a frost giant would be a good one because especially if we have a barbarian that shows their strength, they'd be like,
yeah,
you of my same, like, you've impressed me, XYZ. If you'd like to join me on my journey and my pilgrimage, please do so, kind of thing, right?
Totally. Yeah, throw in a Goliath for good measure.
Sure, right.
As that barbarian, and then there's their best friends immediately.
Yeah. Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Yes, that would be fun because then it would give you the chance to build up a bit more before you gain those abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my gosh, can you imagine if your player character then can swim? Like once they meet their prince, or no, that's the goddess.
The goddess is that one, yeah.
Once they meet their goddess, and then they like do a whole thing, it's a big moment. All of the other players are like, "Oh my god, I'm so happy for
congratulations.
you!"
But they're evil.
But they're evil.
So, and that's the thing, is they would come off not evil until they meet or get that boon, and they're all of a sudden they will turn on you, and you end up having to fight it.
Oh shit.
That's how I would play it.
Yeah.
So you would be like cheering for your NPC or player character, but it's like, oh, you actually just made a pact with an absolutely evil thing, and you now want to murder everybody in your party.
Yeah. Oh boy.
And because here's the thing, I do have a dream where I want to play a campaign where everybody plays a giant.
That would be, well, I'm in.
Right? I think it would be so cool. And I was telling because the campaign that I'm playing in right now with my friend Cole, it's a world where giants and dragons do exist in abundance. Like, not in abundance, but like they exist, we know they exist, we've seen them, so on and so forth. But being able to play in a campaign of a group of giants that's trying to defend its encampment against the dragons, or it's been thousands of years since we've seen a dragon and all of a sudden we've seen one. And but like it's your group's job to investigate where this giant is. Like, there's so much in Giants history that I just want to play a campaign as giants.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, one day we'll do it, Casey. After all the 7 other games that I want to play that I'm never going to play or write, this is one of them. Because I think that would be a lot of fun.
I agree. I think it would be.
Because then you can use these as a level up ascension. So it could be like a good 6-episoder where episode 3 you suddenly make a pact with your god, or your goddess, or your prince, or your princess, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you get those added abilities, right?
And you just build up to that big epic battle of giants versus dragons.
Correct.
It's
all
so
I want.
Good.
It's all I want to do.
Mm-hmm. All right, should we get a wine top up before our final?
Of course, as always.
Our final.
Final
evil.
Our
final evil elemental.
Evil air. Elements are not evil. It is those that wield the elements that are evil. Oh my fucking god.
I wonder how much they got feedback on that.
I don't think anybody cares but me. Like,
I don't know. It is weird though. And to be honest, I didn't really think about it, but
I think it's because
now that you've mentioned it, I'm like, yeah, that actually makes no sense. It should be evil cloud giant or evil fire giant of
because it's not like the god. Like, don't get me wrong. Maybe there's a book written somewhere that someone can point me in the direction to. But in my brain, there is no way in F that a goddess somewhere was just like, I don't want to worship that water because it's not quite evil enough. You know, like it just doesn't hit the noodle the way that I need it to, and I'm unimpressed.
Yep.
In the words of Mieka, unimpressed.
I can't respect it.
I can't respect it. All right.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Cheers, Use Friendo.
Cheers. It's good.
Especially
I get this one again.
Yeah, especially with a little bit of extra breathing. It's good shit. All right, so I'm gonna cover the cloud giant of evil air. So
good for you.
Thank you.
Said it.
And I didn't throw up. So obviously, cloud giants have a natural affinity to the element of air, being all up in the sky and shit. It means that if they abandon the ordning, they will turn to the Prince of Evil Air, Yansibin. Due to their high charisma and cunningness, they will lean towards leading the cults themselves, and remember that because they're on top of the ordning, and if we remember what cloud giants are, they tend to have a lot of stuff. They're rich.
Oh, yeah.
So they can be quite unstoppable as a cult or a group due to their wealth and strength being from the top. So it's like taking someone who's very, very, very famous, they're super rich, XYZ, and all of a sudden they're evil and part of a cult. It's like we've never seen that before, but...
Groundbreaking.
I know. Crazy, right?
Florals for spring.
Did you just... Florals for spring. Indeed.
Groundbreaking.
What a great film. They, of course, maintain the humanoid figure and shape of their cloud giant self, but if you check out the art, you will note that the red cloak or cape that it is supposed to represent the Prince of Evil Air, as it looks like feathers and wings.
It does.
So if you look at it on the chest, it just looks like a regular cloak, but then if you look how it billows down at the bottom, there's actually like, almost like what phoenix feathers would look like. And the thing I keep thinking about is that this is a giant that is of huge stature. Imagine how large those feathers are.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
And getting one of those suckers.
You could build airship, like, sails with that.
You absolutely could.
Yeah.
And so in my brain, if we're going to do like a solid campaign or XYZ and you need to turn your ship into an airship,
Yeah.
make a deal with a cloud giant.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So good.
Or steal the feathers from them. I don't know. You can Jack the Beanstalk it up to their cloud and pluck it from them. I don't know. But I think that's a really cool thing. And like, we've talked about in other D&D episodes, other podcast episodes that haven't been ours, like Giants or the Ladies, about like the mining of objects from creatures when you kill them.
Yeah.
Like, I killed it, I'll take its stuff. Very Monster Hunter-esque. Those feathers are going to be worth something.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you could, like, harvest those,
Yeah.
if you happen to defeat it, I don't know. We'll get into the stat block. It could be bad.
We will, but yeah.
You could make some pretty good gold.
You absolutely could. Or again, build an airship.
Yeah.
Made of cloud giant of evil air.
Or, like, sails for
Yeah.
your ship.
But it could also be that if you have a cult dedicated to, again, this Prince of Evil Air, that the sails of their airship are built from these feathers.
Yeah.
That are in this
And
crimson
that's, like,
red
the
color.
sign.
That
of
they
them.
are of evil air and that it is like a pirate ship or what have you.
Yeah.
Right.
So you see them and you're like, oh, it's like, oh, we're saved. There's another ship. And it's like, oh.
Oh no, that ship flies on the winds of the evil. Son of a bitch.
I love and hate this for you. It's like a delight.
I'll give it up a bit. I'm not going to give it up. There's something that I have to hate on every episode, and I think this is the one.
Yeah. Well, and thankfully, it's just this episode. We're covering all of them in one.
Yeah.
We're getting it over with.
We're done. So, if there was one thing about this book I didn't like, it would be this. Mm-hmm. So, there's a part of me that, like, wonders if it is anywhere else in D&D other than here.
And maybe you don't want to know, because if it is, like, lots of places, you'll be like, they done fucked up.
But then in my
Why?
brain, there has to be a book that explains to me why that is. That's just, you gotta, give me a paragraph, at least.
Well, Adam will find it for you.
He will.
Yeah.
Adam or the internet, one of the two. Or Dan. If Dan ever listens to this episode,
Yeah,
I feel like Dan would
that's
school
true.
me like nobody's business. But anywhoozle. So, the wings themselves that are on their cloak actually give them the ability to fly. So not only do they have their 40-foot stride, but they also have a 40-foot fly speed. So they can just naturally fly, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. Unless you take its cape, and then it can't fly anymore. Just saying.
Another thing you want to steal, maybe.
Hey, if you're trying to kill it fast, take its cape.
Tape it.
Take it.
And, like, those rippling muscles, though, are pretty great. Like,
Yeah, they kind of look, honestly, it looks very monkish.
Yeah.
Like an orc that is a monk. Like, that's just what it
And
looks
even
like to me.
the pose is really, like, deliberate in that it's, like, preparing to strike.
Yeah.
Like a monk does.
So the weapon it has in its hand is a boomerang, and I will get to that in a hot minute.
All
here.
right.
So the 40-foot fly speed also comes in handy because they also have the flyby ability, which basically means they don't provoke attacks of opportunity when they whiz by you. So that's a neat little trick. They are a CR of 12 with a boost in strength, con, and charisma. So that's kind of where they lie. Again, some of these more cloud storm giant types will have that charisma score boost because I feel like they are a little bit more diplomatic than your classic giant.
Yeah. We got some knowledge, expertise. They're going to call you out. They're going to negotiate. They're going to fuck around with you.
Oh yeah, and they speak Orin, Common, and Giant. Mm-hmm. So again, we're seeing more languages, so they'll be able to have that conversation with you if they feel like it. They can multi-attack with their scimitar or their storm boomerang attack, which is a 60-foot range attack, which is plus 12 to hit, and take 3d4 plus 8 bludgeoning and 2d6 thunder damage. Plus, it is a DC 16 con save or be stunned until the end of its next turn.
You are rocked by this boomerang.
Yeah, like you are shocked. You are shooketh by this boomerang. And it is, again, a physical boomerang, so it goes back to them.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Here's the thing, though. Because it is described that way in the book, rules as written, they throw it. It is a physical object that strikes you and then returns to them.
Yeah.
All I can think about is a monk with their deflect missile if they grabbed it and threw it back at them.
Ooh, yes.
And I'm like, I wouldn't think of that if they didn't rules as written say that it physically returns to them. I wouldn't think of it as a physical object. And I can't really describe why I wouldn't think about that. Because when I think about giants throwing rocks, they don't mention, obviously, because they don't return, because it's not a boomerang, that it returns to them.
Yes.
So I don't think about my deflect missile as a monk as much as I should, because I do play a monk.
Yeah, and that you could totally deflect a boulder or a rock, because they run out of rocks, too. Like, you have to roll to see whether they have more rocks.
Get more rocks.
But with this,
it just comes back
absolutely comes back to them, but you could totally grab it.
Catch it and yeet it back at them. And they'll think that they're catching it, but it actually pegs them in the face, right? Like,
oh my gosh.
And here's the thing. I would like to hear from other DMs how they would handle that, because it is the size of probably you.
Yeah. Yeah, like the boomerang itself looks huge in the art, and the giant itself is huge.
Yeah.
Words. But like
the giant is huge. Yeah.
It's a huge boomerang.
So anyways, all these things to think about when it comes to that. Otherwise, they are also spellcasters. So cloud giants with spells.
Oh my god.
They use charisma as their spellcasting ability and can cast detect magic, fog cloud, light, telekinesis, and gaseous form. That's it.
Okay.
It's not that exciting. They don't have an attack the way, but again, because we're getting into the more charismatic, like diplomatic versions of giants when we get into Cloud and Storm, I think it kind of checks out and makes sense that they would have telekinesis, detect magic to say F off with your magic bullshit, and then gaseous form to just poof itself out of there if it feels like it's going to lose the fight.
Yeah.
Right?
And like they'll disguise themselves with the fog cloud first, and then yes, absolutely. If shit kind of or not even that things go wrong for them, but they're like, you bore me.
Yeah. I'm unimpressed.
They'll just gaseous form and get out of there.
Bye. And then throw their boomerang at you while they're flying away.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I think it would be hilarious if they could throw their boomerang, and much like the lightning arc that the one could do, it just hits multiple people on the way.
Yeah.
Like, if they're in, like,
a boomerang would do that.
Right?
Yeah, I'd write that in.
Yeah. Like, if everybody was standing, like, at least 10 feet away from each other, I would be like, it knocks all three of you down. Like, or knocks you prone. Can you imagine getting fucking whacked in the face by that?
Yeah. Where's the strength save where we knocked prone for this boomerang?
It doesn't exist.
But you are stunned, I suppose.
You are stunned, but I feel like the stun comes from the lightning damage. Kind of like a quick, like, little bit of a paralysis of,
Yeah. But I feel like you would do that, and then you just tip over. And so, like, because you can't stop yourself. So it's like, whack, and, like, it sets you off kilter, and then you're stunned, and then you just go...
I think it should just be whacked 10 feet back, and then to the ground. Like, it would be like getting hit by a concrete wall.
Oh, yeah. And, like, or you could even do, if, like, it's a surprise attack, so it has a long range of 240 feet.
Yes.
So imagine that you hear this, like, and you're like, what in
the helicopter?
What's going on?
Yeah.
But then your party is a mix of, like, small and medium creatures.
So it takes out all the tall ones.
It takes out all the tall ones, and then your, like, gnome is like, what just happened?
Where did everybody go? What's going on? Oh my god. Or, like, the tallest one sees it coming and jumps up, and, like...
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I am impressed. It's It's very fun.
It's very interesting. But, like, its spells do speak to me in that it wouldn't be immediately violent.
No, because they want to fuck with you.
Yeah.
More than just, like, destroy you.
Or bring you on so that you are another cultist, or, like, another culty thing.
Yeah, because it does talk about, like, not just it being corrupted, but then corrupting others. Like spreading the corruption. Whereas the other ones were more, they get corrupted, and then they just are the way they are.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Whereas this one is spreading the good word of evil air.
Spreading the good word of the corruption. The corruption of evil air.
I'm going to be doing a lot of Googling later tonight to see if I can figure out why the fuck they chose that direction of wording.
Yeah.
It makes none sense. It's absolute bonkers nonsense to me.
But overall, some stellar additions, you know, in
I
a
like the
higher
elemental
tier.
boots, yeah.
They're great. Add some evil, add some magical abilities, some bizarre things. Connection to elements.
And connections to other gods and goddesses or princes and princes that you can use.
Yeah.
Because, again, I mentioned earlier in this episode, we really only talked about the main sons and daughters of Anam. So it's kind of like we never really got a glimpse of what other options there are for giants. We talk about them like there are other options, but...
Yeah. But we've covered just a few minor ones, like if just, you know, like some giant kin, like, seek other options. But this is substantial.
Yeah, because they're like, my god could challenge your god, I feel is the energy that they have here.
Yeah, like my god is better than your god.
Yeah, my god's better than your god. But they do, we should be clear, they do use the term prince and princesses in It Rules as written in the book.
They do, yes.
But I would say if they have the abilities that they have, that they would be god or god, especially if it's a cult.
Yeah.
Like, I guess there's cults for princes and princesses, but, like, again, weird wording.
Weird wording. Adjust it as you like. I mean.
Exactly. So
that's all for this episode of Season 3 of our Giant series. We'll be back in a couple weeks with more updates from Bigby Presents Glory of the Giants.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the It's a Mimic podcast. If you'd like to support us, we have a donate button on our website, itsamimic.com, and a Patreon. If you'd like to discuss what you've heard here today, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and r/itsamimic. And patrons can chat us up on our patron-only Discord channel. Please talk about evil elements. For other episodes on other kinds of monsters, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks for listening to It's a Mimic, where you never know what you're gonna get.
Your face. You did it. You survived it. We don't need to talk about it again. We can always refer to it some other way.
Evil air?
I know. I'm so sorry. It can be the evil cloud giant of air from here on out. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's fine. I'll just be sad cloud giant about it for a small hot minute.
Yeah. Pour the rest of the wine.
That's fair. I'm gonna do that.